The moment you stop chasing an avoidant is the exact second they start losing sleep over you. But it's not for the reason you think. Picture this. They pulled away expecting the usual pattern, the texts, the calls, the emotional pleas asking them to reconsider. They have a script in their head where you are the pursuer and they are the prize. But this time, nothing, just silence. And in that silence, everything changed. Let's talk about what avoidants expect, because understanding their playbook is crucial to understanding why your silence hit so differently. For years, maybe even throughout the entire relationship, they've watched the same script play out like a predictable movie they've seen 100 times. They create distance and you close the gap. They withdraw emotionally and you pursue harder. They pull back and you lean in. It's a dance they know by heart, a rhythm that's become almost comfortable in its familiarity. When they pull away this time, they're genuinely counting on your predictable response, because it's what's always happened before. The emotional text at 2 a.m. when you can't sleep, replaying every conversation in your mind. The "can we talk?" messages that sound increasingly desperate with each passing day. The long explanations of how much they mean to you, listing all the reasons why the relationship is worth fighting for. But there is a hidden mechanism in their brain that you need to understand, or you will fall back into the trap. This mechanism is called the validation loop. Every time you chase, you validate their fear that you are too much. You prove to them that they were right to run. But when you stop, that's when the loop breaks. They've come to rely on this reaction, not necessarily because they want the drama or enjoy watching you suffer, but because it confirms their worldview about relationships and people. It validates their deeply held belief that people are inherently overwhelming, that relationships require too much emotional labor, that vulnerability leads to being consumed by another person's needs. And ultimately, your predictable pursuit gives them something they crave even more than connection: control. They get to be the one who decides when to engage and when to withdraw, the one who sets the terms, the one who holds all the power in the dynamic. But here's the twist that changes everything. You didn't follow the script this time. You didn't send those texts. You didn't beg for explanations or closure. You didn't try to convince them of your worth or the relationship's value. Your silence isn't what they prepared for, and suddenly, the person who always seemed so sure of themselves, so in control of their emotions, so comfortable with distance, finds themselves in completely unfamiliar territory where their old strategies don't work anymore. Imagine a cat chasing a laser pointer. The cat is the avoidant, and the laser is your attention. As long as that dot is moving, the cat is engaged. But if the laser turns off, the cat looks around, confused, lost, and eventually, it starts looking for the person holding the pen. This is the stage of phantom pursuit. Even though you aren't doing anything, they are pursuing the idea of you in their own head. Silence is not passive, and this is something people fundamentally misunderstand about the choice to step back. It's one of the most active, intentional, powerful choices you can make in a relationship dynamic that's been defined by your pursuit and their retreat. When you stay silent, you're not playing the game they meticulously set up over months or years. You're not feeding into the push-pull dynamic that keeps them comfortable in their avoidance, that allows them to maintain emotional distance while still keeping you tethered to them. Instead, you're creating a void where your voice used to be, and voids in human psychology demand to be filled. At first, they might feel a wave of relief washing over them. Finally, they think with a sense of vindication, space to breathe without someone demanding emotional intimacy I'm not ready to give. But that relief is incredibly short-lived, lasting maybe a few days or a week at most. Because the silence you're giving them isn't the temporary break they're used to, the kind where they know you'll come back after cooling down. It's real, it's indefinite, it has weight and permanence, and it forces them to sit with themselves and their choices in a way they've been skillfully avoiding for years, maybe even their entire adult life. The cognitive dissonance begins to creep in like an unwelcome houseguest. They expected you to fight for them, to prove your love through sheer persistence, to demonstrate that you cared enough to push past their walls. Your absence challenges their entire narrative about themselves and relationships. Maybe they didn't care as much as I thought they did, becomes a nagging thought. Maybe I pushed too far this time and actually broke something that can't be fixed. Maybe I misread the entire situation and they're actually fine without me. Your silence becomes a mirror, reflecting back to them the very abandonment they fear most in their deepest, most vulnerable moments. Except this time, they can't blame anyone but themselves because they created it through their own withdrawal. Now, you might be wondering, what are they actually doing during this silence? Are they moving on? Are they happy? The truth is much darker. Behind the scenes, the avoidant is entering a phase of hypervigilance. They are stalking your digital footprint, looking for a sign of a crack in your armor. They check your Instagram stories from burner accounts. They ask mutual friends how you are doing, acting casual while their heart is racing. They are looking for one thing, proof that you are still miserable. If they find it, they feel safe again. But if you are silent, if you are living your life, that's when the panic sets in. Here's what people don't understand about avoidance. What gets lost in all the relationship advice and psychology articles, beneath that cool, detached exterior that seems so unshakable, is often a storm of confusion, anxiety, and internal chaos that would surprise anyone who only sees their outer presentation. When you don't beg, when you don't chase, when you don't give them the reaction they've come to expect and rely on, their internal world becomes absolutely chaotic, in ways they're completely unprepared to handle. They're used to being the one who controls the distance in relationships, who decides when things get too close and when to pull back. But now, suddenly and without warning, you've taken that control away simply by not engaging, by not playing your assigned role in their emotional drama. They might check your social media obsessively, refreshing your profiles multiple times a day, looking for signs that you're hurting or falling apart without them, or conversely, signs that you've moved on and found happiness they couldn't provide. Each post, each story, each like on someone else's content becomes a puzzle piece they're desperately trying to fit together into a coherent picture. Are they okay without me? Did they already replace me with someone new? Why aren't they reaching out even just to get closure? Don't I matter enough to fight for? But they won't reach out themselves, at least not right away, because their pride won't allow it. Their fear of vulnerability, which has defined their entire approach to relationships, won't allow it. Their ingrained patterns of behavior, developed over years of self-protection, won't allow it. So they suffer in silence, waiting for you to break first like you always have before, growing more unsettled and anxious with each passing day that you maintain your boundary. The person who seems so comfortable with distance and emotional space suddenly feels the crushing weight of it, the loneliness they've been outrunning, and it's absolutely unbearable in a way nothing else has been. This brings us to the testing phase. This is the most dangerous part for you. They will send a bevandard, a simple "hey" or "I saw this and thought of you." This isn't an apology. It's a temperature check. They want to see if the door is still open, just enough for them to feel safe again, without having to change. If you respond instantly with a paragraph of emotions, you've lost. You've given them back the control. You've closed the void. But if you remain calm, or even better, remain silent, you force them to actually face the consequences of their actions. Let's address the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about honestly: power and control in relationships. Relationships aren't supposed to be about power dynamics if we're being idealistic. But when you're dealing with avoidant attachment patterns, there's always been an imbalance lurking beneath the surface interactions. They held the power because they were always the one walking away, the one deciding when things got too intense, the one controlling the emotional thermostat of the relationship. You were always the one left behind, wondering what you did wrong, analyzing every conversation for clues, trying to figure out how to be less threatening or demanding. But your silence, your refusal to chase this time, redistributes that power completely and fundamentally. By not begging, you're demonstrating something they never expected to see from you: genuine self-respect and a recognition of your own worth that doesn't require their validation. You're showing that your sense of value isn't tied to whether they choose you or not. You're proving that you can exist, function, and even thrive without their presence in your life. That you're a complete person, with or without their attention. This shift in the power dynamic is absolutely seismic, like an earthquake that restructures the entire landscape of the relationship. Suddenly, they're not the prize you're desperately chasing, trying to win through good behavior and emotional availability. They're not the one holding all the cards, dealing them out strategically to keep you invested but not too close. They're just another person who made a choice about what they wanted, and now they have to live with the consequences of that choice without being able to control how you respond to it. And consequences, real consequences that they can't manipulate or avoid, feel completely foreign and deeply uncomfortable for someone who's spent their entire relational life getting away with withdrawal whenever things got difficult. Think about the rubber band effect. When two people are connected and one pulls away, the band stretches. If you follow them, the band stays loose. There is no tension. But if you stand your ground and stay silent while they pull away, the tension grows. Eventually, that tension becomes so great that the avoidant is snapped back toward you with a force they can't control. But here is the secret. Most people let go of the band before the snap happens. They get scared, they reach out, they break the tension. If you want to see a real change, you have to hold the line until the snap. Here's where the path splits into two very different directions, and you need to understand both possibilities to prepare yourself emotionally for what might come next. Some avoidants, when confronted with your silence and the profound discomfort it brings, will experience a genuine awakening that changes their entire perspective on themselves and relationships. The absence of your pursuit forces them to look inward in a way they've never had to before, because you're not there distracting them with your emotions and needs. They start to question their patterns seriously for perhaps the first time. Why do I always run when someone gets close to me? Why can't I let someone in even when they're offering me exactly what I say I want? What am I actually afraid of beneath all my rationalizations about needing space and independence? This internal questioning can lead to real, substantial growth and change. They might reach out after some time has passed, not with manipulation or breadcrumbs designed to keep you on the hook, but with genuine vulnerability that costs them something emotionally. An actual apology that takes responsibility without deflecting blame. A recognition of their patterns and how those patterns hurt you. A sincere desire to do better, and maybe even a willingness to seek therapy or do the internal work necessary for change. But let's be brutally honest, because you deserve honesty more than false hope. This isn't always the outcome, and it might not even be the most common one. Some avoidants will double down on their avoidance when faced with your silence. They'll convince themselves that your silence proves they were right all along in their cynical worldview. That people always leave eventually. That relationships aren't worth the emotional effort and vulnerability. That they're better off alone, where they can't be hurt or disappointed. They'll rationalize their behavior until they're the hero of their own story. And they'll paint themselves as the victim in a narrative where they were actually the one who abandoned you first. Your silence can't force someone to change or have revelations they're not ready for. It can only create the space where change becomes possible, where growth could happen if they choose it. But what they do with that space is entirely up to them and their willingness to face themselves honestly. There is a psychological phenomenon called devaluation. When an avoidant can't get your attention, they might try to tell themselves you were never that great anyway. They'll focus on your flaws. They'll try to find reasons why the breakup was a good thing. But this is a defense mechanism. It's a wall they build to keep the pain out. If you stay silent, that wall eventually crumbles because it has no foundation. It's built on a lie. The lie is that they don't need you. But humans are social creatures. We are hardwired for connection. And the more they try to deny that connection, the more it haunts them in the quiet hours of the night. But here's the most important part that gets lost when we focus too much on their reaction and their journey. This isn't actually about them and what they do with your silence. Your silence, your refusal to beg for scraps of attention, your choice to walk away with dignity intact, that's about you reclaiming yourself and your sense of worth that got eroded over time. For too long, you might have measured your worth by their attention and affection, checking your value against whether they chose to engage with you on any given day. You might have believed that love meant fighting for someone, even when they've made it abundantly clear through their actions that they don't want to be fought for, that your pursuit actually pushes them further away. You might have confused persistence with devotion, believing that if you just tried hard enough, loved deeply enough, understood them completely enough, they would finally feel safe enough to let you in. But staying silent teaches you something profound that changes how you approach all future relationships. You are inherently enough, valuable and worthy of love, even when they don't choose you or see your worth. It teaches you that real love doesn't require begging or convincing someone of your value. That healthy relationships don't operate on a push-pull dynamic where one person chases and the other runs. That your peace of mind and emotional well-being matter more than their comfort with distance and avoidance. Whether they come back transformed or not, whether they grow into someone capable of healthy intimacy or they don't, you've already won something more valuable than their return, because you've chosen yourself for perhaps the first time in this relationship. You've set a boundary that protects your dignity and self-respect. You've said, without speaking a single word, I deserve more than this pattern, more than this dynamic, more than breadcrumbs of affection. And that's not just powerful or admirable, that's genuinely transformative in ways that will impact every relationship you have going forward. Remember, the silence isn't just about waiting for them to come back. It's about creating a life where it doesn't matter if they do. You are building a version of yourself that is so strong, so grounded, and so full of self-love that you no longer need to chase anyone to feel whole. You are the prize. You are the destination. And if they can't see that, your silence is the kindest thing you can give them, because it allows them to sit with the reality of what they lost. As you move forward, focus on your growth. Focus on the things that make you feel alive. Because the most attractive thing to an avoidant, and to anyone else, is a person who knows their worth and isn't afraid to walk away from anyone who treats them like an option. Your silence is your strength. Your silence is your shield. And most importantly, your silence is your bridge to a better version of you. Let them wonder. Let them wait. Let them realize what it's like to live in a world where you aren't chasing them. Because that is the only place where true healing begins.